The most powerful AI model ever released just became available to anyone with an internet connection. And right now, most people have no idea what that actually means for their money. Here is the thing nobody is saying out loud. This is not just a technology story. This is a wealth story. And the window to get ahead of it is closing faster than most people realize. 13 days. That is how long you have to access this tool at zero cost before the pricing kicks in. But more importantly, that is how long you have before everyone else catches up and the early advantage disappears. Because in moments like this, timing is not just everything. Timing is the difference between building something and watching someone else build it first. Let me tell you why this matters specifically to you, right now, in this economic moment. We are living through one of the strangest financial periods in modern American life. Interest rates are still elevated. Housing feels unreachable for millions of people. Inflation may have cooled on paper, but your grocery bill and your insurance premium are not buying that story. Meanwhile, the stock market keeps climbing in ways that feel disconnected from reality, and anyone trying to manage their own financial life is essentially doing it with less information than the professionals who are paid to beat them. That gap, the information gap between everyday people and the financial industry, has always been the real problem. Not laziness. Not bad habits. The problem is that the tools were never equal. A hedge fund manager has a team of analysts running models at 3 in the morning. You have a spreadsheet and a few hours on Sunday. That asymmetry is not an accident. It is a structural advantage that has compounded for decades. And then something like this drops into the world and changes the math entirely. The model we are talking about is the most capable reasoning engine ever made available to the public. It can analyze, synthesize, build, explain, and execute complex thinking at a level that, 12 months ago, would have required a team of credentialed professionals. Today it requires a browser and an email address. For 13 days, it requires nothing else. So the question is not whether this technology is powerful. It clearly is. The question is whether you are going to use it strategically or just play around with it like a toy. Because there is a version of this where you ask it to write you a poem and move on. And there is a version where you use these 13 days to change how you think about your financial life permanently. Here is how smart people are already using it, and what you should start doing today. The first thing that is actually changing the game is document analysis at a level most people have never had access to. Think about the last time you got a new insurance policy, a refinancing offer, a 401k plan document, or a lease renewal. What did you do with it? Most people skim it, maybe catch the big number, and sign. But buried in those documents are clauses, fee structures, automatic renewal terms, and penalty schedules that quietly cost people thousands of dollars a year. A family in Austin recently used this kind of AI analysis on their homeowner's insurance renewal and found a coverage gap their agent had never mentioned. When they shopped the policy with that specific knowledge, they saved over $1,800 annually and actually got better coverage. The document did not change. What changed was their ability to read it like someone who knew what to look for. That brings us to the second thing, and this one is about money psychology as much as mechanics. One of the biggest reasons financially motivated people stay stuck is that they cannot get an honest, non-judgmental view of their own situation. A financial advisor has an incentive to manage your money. A friend has emotions attached to the conversation. A spouse has opinions that come with history. But a reasoning engine has none of that. It will look at your income, your debt structure, your savings rate, and your goals and tell you, clearly and without agenda, where the gaps are. A teacher in Ohio with about $60,000 in student loans and no investment account sat down with one of these tools and built a structured 10-year plan in about 40 minutes. Not a vague aspiration. An actual sequenced plan with numbers, priority order, and decision rules for when to adjust. Her financial advisor had charged her a consultation fee and given her a brochure. The difference was not the advisor's fault. It was the difference between what a human can deliver in an hour and what a reasoning system can construct when you actually explain your full situation to it. The third insight is about information speed, and this is where the wealth gap is going to widen most dramatically over the next 3 years. Markets move on information. So does real estate. So does career strategy. So does every negotiation you will ever have about salary, rates, or pricing. Right now, there is an emerging divide between people who can synthesize large amounts of complex information quickly and people who cannot. That divide used to be educational. It used to be institutional. Now it is a choice. A small business owner in Denver used AI-driven market research to identify an underserved service segment in her industry in about 2 hours of focused work. She launched into that segment 6 months ago and it now represents 40% of her revenue. She is not a data scientist. She is a woman who understood that the tool existed and decided to actually use it. That is the entire story. Access plus intention equals outcome. The fourth thing worth understanding is negotiation, and most people drastically underestimate how much money they lose every year simply by not knowing the right number before they sit down at the table. Whether you are negotiating a salary, a car price, a contractor bid, or a credit card rate, the person who has done the research almost always wins. And doing that research used to take time most people do not have. Now it takes a focused 20-minute session where you explain your situation, your market, your alternatives, and ask for a structured negotiation brief. A software developer in Chicago used exactly this approach before his annual review last year. He went in with specific market data, a clear articulation of his contributions framed in business terms, and a tiered ask with fallback positions already prepared. He got a $19,000 raise. His colleague, equally talented, went in unprepared and got 3%. Same company. Same performance cycle. Completely different outcome. So here is exactly what you should do this week before anything else. Open an account and start your free access today. Do not wait until day 12. The value is in the practice, and the practice takes a few sessions to build fluency. Day 1, feed it something real. Not a test prompt. Give it an actual financial document from your life and ask it to identify anything that could cost you money or expose you to risk. Day 2, sit down and describe your complete financial situation. Income, debts, savings, goals, timeline. Ask it to identify your 3 highest leverage moves in the next 90 days. Do not edit the input to make yourself look better. The more honest you are, the more useful the output. Day 3, pick one thing you have been avoiding because it felt too complicated. A refinancing question. A tax situation. A benefits enrollment. A negotiation you have been putting off. Work through it completely. Get to the point where you have an actual plan with actual numbers and actual next steps. 3 focused sessions. Real information. Real situations. That is the whole thing. And if you do this right, what you will walk away with is not just information. You will have a new mental model for how to approach financial complexity. That model stays with you whether the free access continues or not. The tool sharpens the thinking. The thinking is yours permanently. The next few months are going to reveal something about this moment in history. They always do. When a powerful tool becomes available and most people treat it casually, the ones who take it seriously pull ahead. Not because they are smarter. Not because they have more resources. Because they understood that access plus intention is a genuine edge, and they used it while the window was open. 13 days. 1 account. 3 sessions minimum. That is the ask.